basically taking tax dollars and lighting it on fire.
Nashville's Beacon Center blasting city leaders over $1.2 million worth of homeless pods that are not being used.
Fox 17 broke the story in an investigation that found more than 100 two-person pods sitting in storage while homeless people slept out on the sidewalks. The story made the watchdog group's annual pork report. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker live in downtown with an update on what city leaders are saying tonight. Kylie?
Megan, earlier this year, the Homeless Impact Division said that the state said that these pods were to be used only for emergency purposes during COVID. But tonight, in a new Beacon report, they're questioning if the city has even asked the state if those pods could be used for any other purpose. The city has been wrestling with homeless camps like this for years and the problems that they create. Metro Council recently approved $50 million to address the crisis. But in its new pork report, the Beacon Center says that city leaders ignored the partial solution right in front of them, those pods. Beacon's Mark Cunningham says it's like setting your tax dollars on fire.
This idea that we are spending tax dollars on something and then not using it is just so appalling to everybody. Like, how do you say, hey, this is really important, we need this for the homeless population, then you get it and you don't use it for the homeless population?
And today we reached out to the Office of Emergency Management, which has been fielding questions about the pods. This to find out if the city even tried to get permission to use the pods for the homeless. Now OEM says the pods belong to Metro Health. But when we reached out to the Metro Health Department, leaders sent a statement saying in part, the pods are available for deployment during a public emergency. Deployment of the pods for homelessness, as theorized by the report, is not a function of MPHD.
So this is just now kind of the excuse-making portion where they got caught doing something that makes them look really bad. And because of that, they're trying to put the blame on somebody else.
And after getting the runaround from various metro agencies, we asked the mayor's office who's responsible for those unused pods.
Biggest taxpayer-funded stadium in history. Why is this a good investment of taxpayers' money?
Continuing coverage on the most expensive stadium in the NFL funded with public dollars.
Now tonight, some critics say money used to build this new home for the Titans can be better spent. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller live downtown after digging deeper into this proposed $2.1 billion deal.
Well, Scott, Megan, people not just in Nashville, but all across the state would be paying for the brand new Titans Stadium. And that's because up to $500 million would be coming from the state. Mark Cunningham, spokesperson for the watchdog group, the Beacon Center of Tennessee, says taxpayers should not be paying for a stadium. He emphasizes this is not the role of government.
It's the government's role to kind of, do roads, pick up trash on time, fund public education, or to give billionaires money for their pet projects like stadiums.
$500 million of the $2.1 billion deal would come from the state.
Because it's a bond, so it's $500 million plus interest that the state taxpayers are paying, which is even more egregious because these are people who many of them will never go to a Titans game, yet somehow people in Knoxville and Johnson City and Memphis have to pay for a football stadium in Nashville.
So we asked Vice Mayor Jim Shulman about these concerns. This is the biggest taxpayer-funded stadium in history. Why is this a good investment of taxpayers' money?
Well, so, we're always careful about saying taxpayer money because if you listen to the mayor yesterday, there were certain things he was trying to be very careful of, and that was protecting Metro taxpayers.
Fox 17 News also reached out to Mayor Cooper's office. Their spokesperson says without the new deal, Metro would be on the hook for nearly $2 billion over 17 years. So now this liability goes away. Vice Mayor Shulman adds the Titans would pick up maintenance fees and other bonds the city owes. But Cunningham argues this will hurt taxpayers.
You can't promise a Super Bowl. You can't promise a World Cup. You can't promise any things. But the one thing you can promise is that you're going to be taking a bunch of taxpayer money for the stadium that should not be the role of taxpayers.
He says it's money that could have been put towards education, infrastructure, and other parts of the general fund.
Metro actually banned sidewalk and street vendors from operating downtown, saying it was a safety issue. Now it's a compliance issue, and Metro police are frustrated.
Right now, it's against the law for street vendors to operate in the downtown tourist district.
But Metro Police Officer Clint Gillihan tells members of the Traffic and Parking Commission Music City CC, a CBD vendor, has been cited more than 60 times, resulting in fines adding up to $8,000.
I'll be honest with you, it's incredibly frustrating when you're trying to gain compliance and people just kind of scoff at you and go, okay, whatever, and they just keep on doing it anyway.
Right now, the fine is $50 per occurrence, but Metro officers say it's not working.
Issuing the citations, I have been personally told by the employees of Music City CC that they were instructed to continue to vend in violation of the rules because it was more profitable to go ahead and continue getting the citations than it is to apply or comply with the regulations.
We reached out to the Nashville Department of Transportation asking what the city can do to give this law some teeth. In a statement, a spokesperson says Metro Council will consider amending the ordinance in January to allow NDOT to assist police with enforcement. Traffic and Parking Commission member Meshach Adams says it's going to take a team effort.
The city, the police, and the vendors, we all need to kind of come together to find a solution to this issue, because the areas that they're vending on Broadway is heavily trafficked by pedestrians.
Adams wants to hear from vendors, but Music City CC did not show up for Monday's hearing. The city ultimately decided not to renew the company's license.